Now that Riverside Brookfield has clinched conference and can call themselves champions of the Upstate 8 East, they now look ahead to loading up for the playoffs. I'm Aiden Sheff with my partner here tonight and Henry Juergens to cover another anticipated matchup as the Bulldogs are set to take on the De La Salle Meteors. Henry?
Yeah, the last game we covered was one of the best games played on this court in the last few seasons, that being the win against Glenbard South, ultimately putting them in the driver's seat to take home the conference title, in which they did this week. So we're definitely hoping to see that trend continue here tonight. But looking into the playoffs for the Bulldogs a little bit, the Bulldogs are ranked 6th in their sectional. Other notable teams in it are Curry, St. Ignatius, led by Yale commit Chris Bolte, Whitney Young, Kenwood, and the team that knocked them out last year, Oak Lawn. So definitely a hard sectional, but I think the Bulldogs can take care of business there. Yeah, I think it's apparent that this is yet another test for the Bulldogs that they're going to have to pass tonight to give everyone watching that extra bit of confidence, that extra bit of motivation towards this team when watching them, that this team is going to make some noise against some of those teams in their sectional come playoff time. Now the Bulldogs, they're sitting at 21-6. They're coming off a win against West Chicago in which they won by 36 points after losing to Oak Lawn 70-64 4 nights prior. We've got our eyes set on the same usual suspects in regards to the Bulldogs here tonight. Cam Mercer obviously always has pairs of eyes on him per usual, but in particular for me, I'm keying in on whether or not Liam Enright continues to shoot with confidence beyond the arc. We saw it last Friday against Glenbard East where he commanded their offense in the first quarter with 3 3-pointers all consecutive, proving that his flick of the wrist, it's not a fluke, it's just fearless. As for De La Salle, they find themselves at 12-15, coming off a loss on Tuesday against St. Lawrence that moved them further down to 5th in their conference, and it feels that when looking at their roster, Henry, that they've underperformed this season. They've got 2 guys in Caleb Henry and Remy Edwards, 2 seniors who stand at 6'6" and 6'4" respectively, and you'd have to think that one of those 2 guys will be paired up against Colin Cimino tonight, but off their sheer size alone, you think that they'd be able to pull away in some of these close losses they've experienced throughout the season, but they've just failed to do so. So with all that being said, one last thing, Mike Reingruber's the last thing his team needs right now is a trap game, Henry. They are guaranteed to come around in this sport every once in a while, so it'll be up to the 5 guys on the court in the white and blue tonight to get the job done and keep moving in the right direction through February. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Aiden, but I think Reingruber does a great job. Obviously, it's his 9th season as the varsity head coach, coached sophomores for 16 years. He's a historic winner, has won the Thanksgiving Classic tournament 8 times at the sophomore level, finished with a record of 303 and 86 at that level, which is just kind of insane. So I think if Reingruber has anything to say about that, the Bulldogs won't fall for the trap game. No, I hope not. I wouldn't think so, but you never know. They've had, cut it close in a couple of these games that, looking beforehand, pregame on paper, you'd think, oh, the Bulldogs have this one pretty handedly, and the end result wasn't exactly that. But on the other side of things, we talked about Mike Reingruber a little bit now. Let's talk about Gary DeSazer, the coach for De La Salle. You talk about wealth of experience, and this guy was the head coach starting here at De La Salle in 2021. He's been here for around 5 seasons, but before that, he coached 10 years at St. Rita. He's brought a wealth of experience to De La Salle ever since joining on with experience at the collegiate level as well with both DePaul and the University of Richmond. So some prized places there. And prior to coaching at the collegiate level, he spent 16 seasons as the head varsity basketball coach at St. Raymond High School in the Bronx. He led St. Raymond's to 2 New York State championships and 4 city championships, while being named the New York City and State Coach of the Year 4 times. Talked about a prize coach here in the IHSA world. Coach DeSazer was previously the head coach for the 2017 McDonald's All-American Game and the head coach for the 2015 Jordan Brand Classic. He's produced over 50 Division I players, including 3 McDonald's High School All-Americans, and has been a director for the prestigious ABCD basketball camp. So what a matchup it is tonight, not only on the hardwood between these 2 teams, but as coaches, Mike Reingruber, you talked about it a little bit already, with hundreds of wins throughout all levels over his 20-plus years of coaching. Gary DeSazer not much different as we await tip-off here in warm-ups. What are you looking for here tonight, Henry? I'm looking for the size matchup, honestly. If De La Salle wants any chance in this game, they're going to have to go probably interior and in the paint and try to look to get points there. Their free throws aren't great, so probably try not to get hacked as much and try to get easy buckets, but I think that's be the key to success for De La Salle. And I think for RB, honestly, you have to live with the fact that you might foul these kids.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they shoot 53% from the free throw, so you'll take that any day.
I think you'd feel a little bit more comfortable than normal in comparison to other teams when sending them to the line here tonight. And another interesting stat to keep note of, when we get to that point, they average their most points as a team in the fourth quarter with around 16 a matchup. Now, could that be because other teams are laying off and they're getting beaten so bad? Maybe in some instances, but I think it does speak volumes to what kind of team they are. Are they a fourth quarter team? We'll see that out here tonight to see if that remains true. A couple guys to watch here tonight. Their leading scorer in Steven Dixon, number 5, averages around 14 points per game. Obviously team leading in that stat sheet regard. 1 rebound per game, 2 assists per game. His three-point percentage is only 29.9%, but that's the best on the team, Henry. So you talk about free throw percentage, three-point percentage isn't that much better. I'd guess here tonight that a lot of their dirty work will be done in the paint, and that's where probably they'll get the majority of their points, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I think it has to go the opposite for RB, honestly.
Yeah.
I think they have to convert on their threes at least 40%. And I think, honestly, that is very doable for this team, as they're one of the better shooting RB teams I've seen in the past. But I think if RB wants to get it done tonight, they're definitely going to need to rely on the 3-ball.
Other guys here tonight for De La Salle include Chaden Harvey, number 25, averaging 9 points per game, 4 rebounds and 2 assists. That's his split. Lucas Johnson, number 30, averages 8.6 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, and just an assist per game. Carlos Cueva, another guy to keep an eye on, 8.4 points per game and 2 rebounds per game. Remy Edwards, one of the tall guys we talked about early in our intro, 7.3 points per game, 11 rebounds a game. You don't really see that often in the high school level, double-digit rebounds a game, and he's shooting 52.4% from the field. You'd have to imagine with his size, most of that comes from the paint. That's team leading as well. As for RB, Cam Mercer is at the top of your stat sheet for scoring points, 20.9 a game, 20.9 a night, 5.2 rebounds a game, and still just 1 assist per game. Looking to tick that up a little bit as we inch closer towards playoffs. Still 2.5 steals per game, though, which is pretty remarkable. That's team leading as well. Colin Cimino, you move down the line here, 10 points a night, 6 rebounds per game. That's still team leading, as he's been at the top of that board all year long. 2.2 assists. He's shooting 30.5% from 3, a couple percentage points down from when we last talked just last Friday, but he's still your second highest scorer on this team right now. What do you think of that combo here, Henry?
Yeah, I think any way you put it, these are the 2 best on this team. Maybe at, just 2 best players on the court for this team, as we rarely see them go out. And I think Cimino and Mercer complement each other well. I think Cimino's had a great year this year, hosting, 30% from his height is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I'd say so as well. We'll move down the line, the sophomore, who I've loved to talk about all year. What a fun story and what a fun player he's becoming in Mike Reingruber's scheme. That's Noah Van Tholen, averaging 8.5 a night, 3.5 rebounds per game, and 3.5 assists as well per game, 1.5 steals per game. He's a jack of all trades for this Bulldogs team. Like I said, in only his sophomore year. You'll be able to experience it as well with a couple more years to go in this program, Henry. What are you looking in? When looking at Noah Van Tholen, the player, he's only a sophomore, so he'll have 2 years left in Mike Reingruber's team under his wing. What are you looking for him? What are you looking for from him as he continues to grow as a player?
I think he has the potential to be like a Cam Mercer type player for this program, as he's already averaging 8.5 points per game as a sophomore, which is kind of unheard of in RB. So I think, honestly, Noah Van Tholen has potential to be, I say this kind of nicely, but an all-time great for the high school.
Yeah, he's still got a lot of room to grow, and the good news is he has 2 more years to do so. We're going to take a quiet break here for the flag. All right, we are moments away here from tip-off. De La Salle Meteors meet the Riverside Brookfield Bulldogs. What we're hoping will be another fun matchup. Obviously, we talked about it already last Friday. It's far and away the best matchup I've been able to cover here at RBTV. What a fun matchup last Friday that was, just a week ago. Michael Nee, the storyline heading into it, the South Dakota commit. The Bulldogs held him to, I believe, under 15 points that night, and most importantly, they got the win. What do you think it means for some of these underclassmen, like Noah Van Tholen, to have a conference championship under your belt already, and how do you build upon that as you go forward?
I think it shows how much it means to the school, to be honest. Yeah. I think this community rallies around its teams, and I think it means a great deal, and I think they realize that, and they're motivated to continue that streak for next year and the rest of their career.
Yeah, I would agree. What a fun story. So many fun storylines this season that we've been able to cover here at RBTV in this stadium for this Bulldogs varsity squad. Senior heavy, 8 seniors on this roster. Cam Mercer gets introduced here as they move through the starting lineup. Colin Cimino, your next man here, the Denison commit. Should be fun to see. Keep an eye on him and how he does at the D3 level starting next season. Then Biskupic. Kind of the Draymond Green of this group, right? I actually played 2 hours of pickup basketball with this guy earlier today in the morning, so I'm interested to see how his stamina is going to hold up here tonight.
Yeah, I assume this game might be a little harder than the pickup this morning.
Yeah.
We will see.
As we get set here for tip-off, you could already see the size stand out a bit for this De La Salle team. The Bulldogs will come across more often than not some smaller teams throughout high school. This team, that's not the case here. Got a couple guys over 6'4".
They actually match up pretty well. I didn't really see it at first when we were looking at the kind of player cards. It didn't look that well, but I think the Bulldogs match up well here.
Yeah. As we are underway, Bulldogs will fight for the tip. Mercer starts with the ball up top here to Enright. Pushing the ball around as usual. Here's Cimino. Out to Biskupic at the top of the key. Here's Mercer. Looks to make a move with the ball. Pump fake, pull up J. Won't go. And that will be off the Meteors. It'll stay Bulldogs ball here. First 18 seconds of play. Bulldogs looking to put some points on the board. Yeah,
we see Mercer missed his first shot there, but the shots are, he's creating the shots, so that's all you can hope for him. As you know, they'll fall eventually.
That's what he is. He's kind of the artist in this offense, right? He creates, he moves around, whether it's with the ball in his hands or not. As you can see here, trying to find a lane to get open. De La Salle playing really good defense here so far. Bulldogs have yet to put up another shot yet. And Biskupic slips through the cracks, couldn't put it down. De La Salle will come up with the rebound.
Yeah, I gotta make that one kind of a routine layup,
characteristic there.
Yeah, uncharacteristic from Biskupic.
Here's Cueva. Out to Remy Edwards. The 6'4", 230 senior, big fella there that Cimino will take on here on the defensive side tonight. Harvey drives inside, won't get the tough bucket. Here's Van Tholen. Out to Biskupic, drives inside, nice spin move, a great move to get the first points on the board for the Bulldogs.
Biskupic gets his revenge there. I think he was listening to us up here.
Yeah.
And it was like, you guys can't say that, man.
Here's Caleb Henry at the top, out to Edwards. Harvey's clapping for it down low. Cueva, a quick three, will respond. Number 3, 4-3, gets their first points on the board here tonight for the Meteors. Out in the corner to Cimino. Kind of a pass-first big. Sits at the perimeter a lot. We know he can shoot. Has the best three-point percentage on the entire team. Enright almost gets poked from behind. A mid-range jumper will fall. I talked about it heading into this one. What I'm looking for is the consistency on offense. And from his shooting game, number 30, that's Liam Enright, who's been a great shooter all year long. Maybe not the best field goal percentage on the team from beyond the arc, but it certainly feels like it whenever you're watching him.
Yeah, and you could attest to that in the Glenbard South, or Glenbard East game, sorry. He was on fire.
Yeah, he was. Looking for that trend to continue, obviously, here tonight would be nice. And an errant pass will end towards the Bulldogs as the white and blue will get the ball back here, set to inbound. Is Liam Enright to Van Tholen. 5:39 to play here in the first quarter, 4-3. through 2.5 minutes of play. Here's Van Tholen to bring it up. Out to Biskupic at the top of the key. Kind of floating around the perimeter as the Bulldogs. Here's Cimino cross court to Biskupic. Tries to drive inside. Here's Van Tholen. Thought about it. Pulls up. Mid-range. Here's Cimino in the corner for three. Will fall. Feels like every time he's in that corner, it's a sure bet that that one's going in.
Yeah, you can feel confident from Cimino right there. Probably makes 1 out of 3 of those as he shoots around 30%.
Pretty solid guess there.
Yeah.
As here is Steven Dixon, their leading scorer, averaging 14 a night roughly through 18 games of statage. We'll pass it out here to Harvey. Looks to make something happen. Here's Caleb Henry down low. High layup, but will fall. The Bulldogs to inbound to Enright here. A little bit of back and forth. More defensively played here tonight so far. Obviously only just over 3 minutes in here, but not as back and forth as we've seen normally. As Cimino puts an extra layup in here, it's now 9-5.
And I honestly expected it to be a little slower as we saw. I thought there'd be a lot of free throws, but hasn't been really any fouls yet.
It's a missed rebound there from Mercer on his man. Will still go the Bulldogs' way, so here's Mercer again with the ball. Enright gets tripped up, recovers, puts up a tough layup, won't go. Biskupic can't wrestle for the rebound.
Yeah, I think the Bulldogs have to work on slowing it down a little bit. They kind of look rushed right now, and I think that's kind of what's causing them to. And that'll be a foul on Mercer, I believe.
Didn't look all that handsy there, but that will send Dixon to the line. Their leading scorer, obviously, as stated before. We'll see if their 53.9% free throw percentage as a team comes to play here. Maybe he'll make 1 of 2.
Yeah, Mercer can't be that mad about the foul, as hopefully the free throw cursed his life. As
the ref seems to be barking at one of the players here, telling Carlos Cueva to tuck his jersey in, and if not, you might get booted out of here. Dixon takes his time on the free throw here. Long awaited, will fall.
I remember back in my middle school basketball days, that happened to me all the time. Didn't tuck my jersey in. Get scolded, man.
Refs don't like that for some reason. It's one of their ticks that they don't like.
Yeah.
Awaiting the second free throw here from Dixon. We'll make it a 9-7 ball game. And it will fall. They beat the 53.9% allegations there. 9-7, Bulldogs still on top, 4:10 and counting to play. Here's Enright to bring it up. Cueva on him, who's done a solid job so far here through 4 minutes on Enright. Here's Mercer. Real solid defense from De La Salle, not letting any of these Bulldogs slip through the cracks and find an open lane. Mercer, step back, tough bucket off the front of the rim. Here's Cueva to bring it up into Dixon. Dixon looks to make a move. What's the call? And it will be against the Meteors. It'll go the Bulldogs' way. Nice job there by Mercer to draw that foul.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Mercer averaging 20 points on this team, the most by almost 10 points.
Yeah.
But his defense has been astonishing this year, man. He has done a great job on the defense side of the ball, and he leads the team in steals.
Yeah. Shows there as he draws the charge. Here's Van Tholen to bring it up, the sophomore. He's got a bright future ahead of him. That's Mercer from a long ways, and it falls. Showing off the distance there is number 5. Here are the Meteors to bring it up, looking to respond as the Bulldogs extend their lead to 5. That's Lucas Johnson there with the ball into the corner. That's Harvey, won't fall. Out-rebounded is Biskupic. And a tough lay that won't fall. A lot of jerseys down there inside of the paint fighting for that rebound. Bulldogs ultimately get it. Here's Enright with the ball. A cutting Biskupic won't get the ball. Here's Enright looking to make something happen. Hasn't put too many shots up there, number 30 here tonight. Hasn't got the looks that he's wanted. Being very meticulous with what kind of shots he puts up so far. Here's Van Tholen, a couple pump fakes, and they will call that a travel. Looks like Van Tholen knows that it'll go the Meteors' way.
Yeah, not complaining there. I agree with the call by the refs there. A little too much movement for my liking.
Yeah. For the refs' liking as well, they'll call that one against the Bulldogs here. The Meteors to bring it up, looking to put some more points on the board. Not all that much of a scoring fest here through 5.5 minutes.
Nope.
We'll see if that trend decides to sway the other way, and these two teams put more points on the board. A nice rejection there from Semino. Here's Van Tholen kicking it out to Enright in the corner. A pass-first guy is Enright. Never really looks to shoot as his first option. Putting on the dancing shoes is Mercer. Ultimately will not fall. Here are the Meteors. Good defense with Biskupik. But that's Edwards that slips by. That's a bucket there, 12-9. Bulldogs still up by 3.
Yeah, good move there from the big fella. Just a little
hook shot there from Van Tholen cross court to Semino. Nice spin move. And that'll be called a foul. Coach DeSazer doesn't like that call, but it will send Semino to the line. That was a shooting foul here.
Yeah, a lot of contact there. I don't know really what you're complaining.
Well, DeSazer, knowing that now after our research, what a prize coach he is, maybe he thinks, with his experience and his value that he can, convince the refs the other way.
I'd sure be convinced, Dave.
Yeah. Semino hits his first. Bulldogs up 4, looking to go up 5 here. Just under 2 minutes to go here in the first. Should have an interview downstairs after the first quarter. Stay tuned for that. Both will fall there for Semino. Trusty free throw shooter for this team all year long. Quick movement. Gets the Meteors a bucket there. Couldn't transition back in defense quick enough. Was the Bulldogs. Here's Semino after the inbounds pass. We'll kind of trap him in the corner here, down low to Enright. Back to Semino. Another three. Will go. He is feeling it tonight. It's number 21. He's all claps here. Looking to get it going. Here's Kendall Davis with the ball at the top for the Meteors. Out to Henry. The 6'6" senior. He's listed at 6'6" at least. Jumper for Johnson won't fall. Here's Enright. Trying to push it down the court if he can. Stops, passes it to Biskupik. Here's Semino. Tries to flip it in the corner to Van Tholen. Some hot potato there. A foul is called. Looks to be against the Meteors. It'll stay Bulldogs ball. Sloppier first quarter, I'd say, all around for both teams.
Yeah, the Bulldogs on their transition defense, I feel like, have been kind of weak. And I feel like that's honestly where the Meteors are getting most of their points.
Saw it with their most recent bucket. Bulldogs still up 6, 1:08 and counting to play here in the first. Here's Van Tholen, their guy that normally brings it up if it's not Liam here. And an errant pass will be a turnover. Looks like Reingruber was looking to call a timeout there before that pass. Didn't get it off. Either that or the ref didn't see him. Nonetheless, the Meteors have a chance to put more points on the board here before the first quarter concludes.
Yeah, it looks like a little miscommunication there, I guess, from Reingruber and the ref and Semino and Van Tholen.
There's Lucas Johnson with a 3, cuts the Bulldogs' lead to 3. A much slower paced game than normal. Not a big crowd drawn here tonight, which obviously always helps the Bulldogs. We saw it last week. They brought everybody and their mothers out to that game against Glenbard East, and it paid off in their favor. Here's Biskupik with a nice spin move and a foul. Draws it nonetheless. You could tell he wanted that one. It was a nice nifty move to get to the line with 24 seconds to go.
Yeah, has he ever tried that one on you?
He has. He actually did at around 12:30 p.m. today. So, and I will say it worked a couple of times. I'm not a great interior defender. Wish I was, but those days are behind me, Henry.
Yeah, or else you'd be out there.
Yeah. Way to rub it in my face. Here's Biskupik for his first free throw of 2. Will fall. Bulldogs, at least on the stat sheet, a much better free throw percentage shooting team in comparison to the Meteors. The final seconds tick down. Likely have one more possession here for the Meteors. Looking to make something happen is Johnson. Out to Edwards. At the top of the key, that's Davis. Goes a little back and forth here. Here's Johnson. Cuts to the corner. And one for Lucas Johnson. Not exactly the predicament you want to see the Bulldogs fall in here with 5.3 to play, as they'll have a chance at a 3-point play. Lucas Johnson, who's done a lot of the ball handling here so far for the Meteors, has a chance to convert here, make it a 2-point lead for the Bulldogs. Won't fall. Their bad free throw percentage comes back to bite them. Here's Semino. Won't go. That'll conclude the first quarter. Slower pace, nonetheless, the Bulldogs find themselves up 3. We'll kick it down to an interview on the floor when we can.
What is going on?
Hi, I'm here with Hunter Twitty. How do you think the progression of the game is going so far?
So far, I think we're playing really good. We're playing a city school, so it's a tough team to beat, but I think we got it so far.
Who do you think, with the progression of the game so far, who do you think the Mike's Hot Honey player of the game is going to be?
I think the best player in the game probably going to end up being Colin Semino. He has 10 so far. It's only the first quarter.
All right, thank you very much.
There from varsity player Hunter Twitty, talking about Colin Semino, the impact he has on both sides of the ball for the Bulldogs. One of the players that stood out there in the first quarter, had 10 points already.
Oh yeah, Semino's done a great job so far, and he's already hit his average for the year, so definitely a big night incoming for Semino.
Yeah, doesn't look like he's anywhere near done on the scoring end at least. Look to see that continue. Meteors will start with the ball here at the top of the second quarter. And a tip pass there. Walker Burns was ready for that one. He'll try to pull back. Boy, a lot of bumping into one another. A very sloppy game so far. Here's Mercer. My goodness. I don't know if that was Mercer that touched the rim there, but the whole hoop shook. Nonetheless, Mercer has a chance at a three-point play there. Very hard foul there on number 5.
Yeah, I just think that, I mean, they were they even going for ball there? I mean,
very physical for sure. That was Remy Edwards there on the foul. Man who's listed at 230, so a big fellow there. But makes his presence felt. Boxing out there helps out Harvey get the Meteors the ball.
We see Walker Burns check into the game for Ben Muskubik. Maybe the Bulldogs trying to get a little more size.
Yeah.
Interior.
Coach is livid right now. They're pointing at the floor. Looks as if the refs are correcting their call. I believe they called a carry on Steven Dixon. Still kind of hug it out there. It'll stay on the Meteor side.
I don't get how you pick up that call, Aiden, to be honest, to carry. I don't get how that's, or I get it.
Correctable call.
Yeah, I get how it's
seems
debatable.
a little iffy. Yeah. Don't really see that get, changed all that often in basketball. Did happen there. Here's Johnson again for 3. Will rattle out. A heave down there to Van Tholen, and he'll yam it home. Number 23 showing off the hops.
Yeah, the sophomore, super athletic.
To think he's only 16 years old. Still got a lot of room to grow as a player, and maybe even in height, which is a scary thought. It's a scary thought, really. And a block there from Semino makes his presence felt in the interior. Using his wingspan to his advantage. Bulldogs are trying to push on offense now. Here's Enright, kicks it back out to Semino. Gets trapped in the corner, loses his footing, the ball with it, and it's on the floor. It'll be called a jump ball. Should stay in the Bulldogs' favor, which it will.
Yeah, very physical play there, just on both ends, to be honest. But Bulldogs remain with the possession.
Feels as if that was De La Salle's game plan coming into this one, right? Be as physical as you can, try to knock them off their feet, which they've done a solid job at so far tonight through, a quarter and a couple minutes here. Keeps them within 7. See if the Bulldogs can convert here on their offensive inbound.
Yeah, all your coach can ask is just keep the game close and see what happens at the end. So,
boy, a lot of breaks here so far in between dead balls.
That's kind of how I thought the game would be. Just kind of a slow-paced game, just two physical teams, but.
Here's Van Tholen, nothing to do at the top there. Here's Enright, the magician, looking to make something happen. A nice pass down there to Burns. Enright thought about a deep 3, a nice move. Step back is good. The flick of the wrist from Liam Enright.
Liam Enright in his bag right now.
It's a guy that I stated you should look out for at the beginning of the game. Hasn't gotten a ton of looks up so far tonight. or that last one, proving that that jumper is still there in full effect. Here's Semino, a nice spin move, won't fall off the backboard. As here's Dixon trying to push it, a nice move there will result in a 2 over Walker Burns. Dixon, a shifty player for the Meteors.
This Bulldogs team's got to slow it up. They're going to...
Cueva won't fall. Both these teams, I think, need to take a bit of a breather and slow things down, as you were saying, Henry. Here's Van Tholen at the top of the key, brings things up per usual. Nice cut there from Semino. Gets an extra 2. What a night he's had so far here. 12 already through 10.5 minutes. A pull-up jumper there from Dixon. Smooth as butter. Will fall. 27-20. Bulldogs remain with the lead. Here's Semino. Looks to make something happen. Dribbles back outside. Gets it to Mercer, who only has 5 points so far on the night. Here's Semino again in the corner. Won't fall. Burns tries to get in there for a late rebound. Can't do it. Edwards will get it. Gets it back out to Dixon. Here's Cueva wide open for 3. And a foul is called. I believe on the offensive rebound attempt from Chaden Harvey.
I feel like De La Salle's press has to be better. It's very passive right now, if I'm being honest. I mean, Liam Enright probably had 3 seconds to survey and get the ball off to, I believe it was Semino. So I think if De La Salle, they're going to keep pressing, they need to be aggressive in their press and not just be, they're being more passive right now. Yeah, and you watch for that to change depending on, you know, what the score looks like as we continue with this game. We talked about it a little bit at the start. They average 16 points each fourth quarter they've played in. So they seem to be a fourth quarter team. You'd wonder if that has to do with their full court tactics on defense as well, as Mercer knocks in a 2 there to extend their lead to 9. There's Kendall Davis at the top of the key. Hasn't done a lot of shooting so far here tonight. Here's Cueva with another quick look. And one finally falls there for number 3. That's his second three-pointer of the night. He's gotten a lot of looks up, but not enough have fallen. Here's Enright. Kind of gets trapped there at half court. Has to get it out to Van Tholen, back to Enright. Here's Enright again. Little scoopage, can't get it in there. Because that's Dixon with the rebound. He's kind of filling up the stat sheet tonight. Yeah, Enright played a dangerous game there at half court. Lucky to get out of it, but no bucket. Tries to drive through, and a foul will be called. Offensive. I know. Offensive foul on Dixon. Maybe a little bit too much pushing and shoving. Seen quite a lot of calls from the Zebras out there tonight, from the refs on both sides of the ball. Yeah, and I believe that's 2 offensive fouls on Dixon already. Yeah. So feisty player. Yeah, and he gets subbed off here as he can't afford to foul again. Yeah. So Dixon will get a breather. Their leading scorer here tonight, he's got 7. Here's Enright. Looking for a cutting player down low, won't find it. Van Tholen will take an open look for 3, won't fall. Burns can't corral the rebound. Here's Cueva trying to push it up the court. Into Kendall Davis. Here's Edwards, who hasn't put the ball up a lot here tonight. Veskupic has held his own, and that will continue. Nice defense there as the hook shot fell short. Van Tholen. Here's Mercer, long range 3, won't fall. You continue to see that up-tempo offense. They're not really slowing things down, the Bulldogs. As a floater won't go here, but will get his own rebound and put it in. That's Kendall Davis for his first points of the night. Here's Enright. Really has not done a lot of shooting here tonight. Continues to show he's a pass-first, assist-first player. A tough jumper there for Van Tholen. Won't fall. He'll have to get back up, get back on defense. It's really back and forth so far here this second quarter as the clock continues to wind down. A quick second quarter as we inch closer towards halftime. Yeah, I feel like both teams have gotten so many possessions here just based on like fast possessions and turnovers. Yeah. Edwards tries to muscle through, can't get it to go. Appears to be a little shaken up after that layup, maybe gotten poked. And so after all that, a lot of back and forth there through 5.5 minutes here in the second. A timeout will finally be called for the Bulldogs. Ryan Gruber and company will talk it over. As Coach DeCesar is still talking to the refs. He doesn't like something. I don't know exactly what it is. Yeah. Can't put my finger on it, but he doesn't seem too pleased. What do you think he's in there trying to change right now, Henry? I think that it just make sure his team is more patient with the ball. I feel like they're not patient with the ball. They're not getting they're not creating shots well enough, and they're still 4 points. They're only down 4 points in this game, so it's like
I bet he feels like they could be on top right now, really.
For sure.
So interesting to see if, still 2.5 minutes to play here in the second, but if De La Salle, the Meteors, try to come out with a bit of a different approach, maybe in terms of tempo in the second half to try to get themselves on top and find their first lead of the night. So here's Biskupic to inbound, 2:37 to go here in the second quarter. 29-25, the Bulldogs with the lead. Liam Enright here with the ball. Here's Mercer, pump fakes, tries to drive inside, tries to muscle through. Ball is off his foot. He's on the ground here, and this should be called a jump ball. They're still not going to call it. Finally, they'll blow the whistle. Should go De La Salle's way, and it will. 21 seconds off the clock after that timeout, and the Bulldogs, they got nothing out of it.
Yeah, you'd like to see maybe a little more, or at least get a bucket after a timeout, but
at least put a shot up.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Here's Henry to inbound. That's Davis, the junior, 5'10", taking it up per usual for them. Here's Lucas Johnson, who's gotten a 3 to fall in his favor here tonight. Here's Cueva. Johnson back to Cueva. Another long distance 3. That one didn't look good off the hands. But the offensive rebounds, these second chance opportunities for the Meteors, I think is another thing that's keeping them and this game in general pretty close here so far.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Aiden. Honestly, like, how many points do you think they've got off second chances? It has to be at least 6.
Yeah.
I mean, they've gotten a lot of second chances, and honestly, the Bulldogs could be blowing them out right now if it weren't for it.
Yeah, and the Bulldogs defense has to hope that, their putback shots don't start to fall, because if so, this could be, it doesn't really feel like they're only up 4 right now. It kind of feels like, their lead is a lot more commanding, but once and if the Meteors start putting in those second chance points, it could feel like an entirely different ball game.
And I feel like that's demoralizing too, letting up second chance points. You just have a good defensive possession, you force a tough shot, and they miss, and then you have to go back and do it again.
Right. Here's Henry, tries to dribble inside, won't work. As Edwards shoots the jumper, won't fall. His bench was trying to help him there with the shot clock. 1:17 and counting to go. Here's Biskupic taking it up now. In the corner to Enright. A little bit of a headshot there. He almost lost it. Enright tries to be shifty. He's getting back down there by Edwards. Here's Cimino. Tries to make a move. And that'll be a double dribble on Cimino. Couldn't find anything there. A lot of lackadaisical offensive possessions here so far.
Yeah, you'd like to see the Bulldogs maybe fix this at halftime, probably come out hotter. As you know, you could have more than a 4-point lead. I think what you really need to look at is making sure you secure those defensive rebounds, also forcing less stupid turnovers.
Right, more or less, and we talked about it. I talked about it a little bit pregame as well. They happen throughout all sports, high school, college, pros, trap games, right? You see teams that go into a game where, they definitely should win. They're favored on paper. Guys are betting tens and hundreds of dollars on the team to, blow them out, but that just doesn't end up being the case, and you don't want this to end up being that trap game for the Bulldogs. They're 21-6 for a reason. This is a very good team as Mercer is slow to get up here. Waits to get helped up from Cimino, but as I was saying, you don't want this to be a trap game as you move through February, inching closer towards the 6A playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Also, you don't want to get your star point guard who's averaging 20 points injured.
Yeah.
So
he goes down and almost feels like the entire team goes down.
Yeah.
24.2 to play. The Bulldogs will have another chance to put some points on the board here before the end of the second here. That'll head us into halftime. Looking to get an interview downstairs with the coach. Another bad pass there. That's from Enright. Here's Cueva inside to Johnson. Look to have something here in the corner to Harvey, and it'll dribble off his foot. Bulldogs fortunate to have another chance here with 9.3 to play.
Yeah, that's the Bulldogs' 3rd turnover in a row. They need to do something else to fix this, and I think, honestly, it's just being patient.
I would agree. We'll see if they can get this much-needed bucket here. Got 5 seconds here and counting. Here's Van Tholen stuck at half court. We'll have to dish it off to Biskupic with an open lane. Gets swatted away. Looked like there was contact. No call. He'll get back up on his feet. Bit of an interesting first half there. 29-25. Bulldogs up for Not that high-scoring matchup that we're used to seeing up here in the booth. Nonetheless, Bulldogs still maintain the lead as we are going to look to kick it downstairs to Coach Reinger before an interview.
All right, Coach, what's one thing you'd like to carry into the second half that you guys have been doing good in the first half?
I think overall we've been guarding and rebounding really well. We've been contesting every shot for the most part, and we're doing a great job on the glass. So we need to continue to do that in the second half.
Is there anything you'd like to improve during the second half?
Yeah, offensively, there's a lot of standing around. Our ball's not moving very well. We need to do a better job offensively of running some better offense. But, you know, we're in position to win this game, and we'll make some adjustments at the half.
All right, thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, I think Coach said it best, and I hate to describe it with this word because it's, you know, not the best word, but I think it was kind of a lazy first half, right? Like, you didn't see a lot of, you know, proper boxing out. We talked about it a little bit there in the second quarter with the second chance points. None of them really fell for the Meteors, but you keep giving them those, they're bound to fall. I think you're looking out of everything for that to change the most for the Bulldogs in that second half.
Yeah, I think also just making sure you secure rebounds. It's yeah, definitely a big thing is just securing rebounds. And if they do that, I think they can handedly win this game.
I'd agree. So we will see you for the second half here in a couple minutes, guys. All right, folks, well, we're back here for the second half of RB versus De La Salle. We talked about it a little bit before we cut for the end of the first half, really. You know, we talked about how they kind of got lazy there in the second quarter in terms of out-rebounding, right? They couldn't really do that, especially on offensive possessions from the Meteors. What are we really looking for here for the Bulldogs? Not necessarily to just win here in the second half, but to pull away here, Henry.
I think the defensive rebounds is the most important part. You're letting them get second chance points, and I think they've converted on a couple of those. And I think if you take that away, you come out of this. I mean, you go into halftime probably up double digits.
Yeah.
So I think that's important for them. And I think it's not getting lazy on offense. I felt like towards the end they were kind of getting lazy, unfocused, and it cost them, I believe it was 3 or 4 turnovers there in about 2 minutes alone. So I think if they can fix that, they'll have no problem taking care of business here.
A lot of unforced errors has gotten in the way of the Bulldogs putting up a solid performance tonight. Didn't sound like Coach Ryan Gruber was all that pleased with their first half performance as we had that interview before the very end of the first half. But Bulldogs will start with it here. An early foul called on the Meteors. They'll inbound it here underneath.
Yeah, that's Dixon again. That's his 3rd on the night, I believe. So he's got to watch it.
He's got to watch it for sure. Their leading scorer. The facilitator for them on offense will have to be careful here the rest of the way. Here's Van Tholen, gets stripped away, another turnover. A lot of steals from the Meteors tonight. And a nice lay there for Johnson, and one. Got up there just in time to put the layup in. He'll have a chance at 3. 29-27, has a chance to make it 29-28. The Bulldogs lead continues to shrink as we start the third quarter.
Yeah, and we talk about turnovers again. That's just, you can't have that there. It leads to a easy layup and gets fouled, so that'll be an and 1.
You could see Van Tholen talking to Ryan Gruber there as he moves away after the second free throw. As good of a player as Van Tholen is, you have to remind yourself that he is a sophomore after all, and some of those mistakes are bound to happen. That's why the conditioning of being a varsity player as a sophomore is so good. As Van Tholen drives inside, couldn't get the layup to fall, is so important because he still has 2 years under Mike Ryan Gruber, so a lot ahead for him as a player, and he'll only get better, which is exciting. He'll only get more polished is really what I'm looking to say. As Biskupik is set to inbound, it'll go the Bulldogs' way.
Yeah, fouls early here by both teams.
Kind of been the theme all night.
Yeah.
Very handsy on both sides. Then Tholen will take it up. Prefer to see them put points on the board here, their first of the half. Here's Enright at the top of the key. Trusts his shot won't fall. Biskupik, the out-rebounding demon, hasn't done it a whole lot here tonight, but he is feisty down there in the paint. He'll out-rebound anybody. Tonight it's been against Remy Edwards, who's 230 pounds. That one will go in and out, and a foul called on Semino, attempting to rebound.
Yeah, just got a little too handsy there.
Biskupik is an awesome player to watch at the high school level because with a lot of players, you know, they're so ball dominant, at least they want to be. They want to be those scoring first kind of players. He's really not that at all. In fact, he's everything but that, but that's not a bad thing. That's really a positive thing about the way he plays. He sets things up. He just doesn't really put the ball up himself. And I think without Biskupik, this varsity team misses, you know, a key portion of their team.
Yeah, I think he's a huge factor in their success. Like, obviously, you could credit guys like Mercer and Semino, but I think Biskupik is equally as important as he's a facilitator of this team, and I feel like he's a great leader as well.
I think he's kind of, you know, the engine of this team.
Yeah.
As Lucas Johnson hits a corner 3 there. Before that, Mercer hit a left-handed floater. So now, after a back and forth, it is all tied up. 31 all here with 5:56 and counting. Here's Enright in the corner, looks to drive inside. Stops, looks to pass. Will put up a spinning layup, which won't fall. Can't get the rebound. He'll trip, have to get up, rush back to defense. So here's Dixon, drives inside on Semino. Big body, will get it to go. Dixon is a fun little player here for the Meteors. He's listed at 5'8", just 167. Ryan Gruber doesn't like to see the Bulldogs come out this way in the second half. He'll call a timeout. I think the guy that you have to watch now going forward, and we've talked about him so much because he's fouled already 3 times, he's got to be careful, is Steven Dixon. He's been kind of, you know, the bread and butter of this offense right now for the Meteors really this entire game. He's got 8. Johnson has gotten a couple threes to fall, so he's outscored him. But you can tell that the offense runs through number 5 and Steven Dixon. Gonna have to find a way to slow him down and kind of, you know, turn his eyes away from the open lanes and whatnot. Really just slow their offense down as a whole, because right now they're clearly picking it up. So we'll come out of timeout here. Ryan Gruber still talking to his guys in the white and blue. Hoping to come out of this timeout here looking sharper. As it will be Bulldogs ball.
Yeah, and I think it's important here that they have 4 seniors on the floor. Obviously, it's a senior-dominant team, but I think, honestly, from a leadership and experience aspect, I think it's huge. In moments like these, especially where you're neck and neck with a team, I think that they know they're better than. Here's Mercer, 4-3, won't go. Second chance here for Van Tholen, gonna have to capitalize. Here's Enright, was thinking about the 3, couldn't get it. Slow it down a little bit here. Getting a little antsy with the ball in their hands. Here's Cimino down low. Will he try to back down? Use his big frame. He will. Won't go. Who's it off of? It'll stay on the Bulldogs side. They'll have a 3rd chance here to put the ball in the basket, which they need to do here. 20 seconds on the shot clock. 5:06 to play in the 3rd. Here's Enright to inbound, which he's done all night. See what their approach is here coming off of the inbound. Here's Van Tholen in the corner. Going to give it across here to Mercer. Corner 3. Won't go. Hasn't fallen much at all tonight for Mercer beyond the arc. Here's Johnson, the speedster. Won't fall. Out rebounded there. That's Caleb Henry. Here's Dixon for 3. Long range. Won't go. That's everything but the rim. And it'll be Bulldogs ball. A bad shot there from Dixon. Yeah, but undisciplined from the Bulldogs. You got to get that defensive rebound right there and not give them that second chance. As Dixon is definitely able of converting there. Yeah. Just didn't there. It's kind of been the theme really tonight, is, you know, that they can capitalize on these things, De La Salle, but they just aren't. And if they did, it feels like they'd be up 10 points right now. Cimino airballs a floater, ends up being a pass to Enright. Here's Van Tholen, wide open 3. Can't go. Mercer again. Just up and down, these rebounds going both ways. A lot of sloppy possessions for both offenses. Here's Edwards at the top of the key. Back to Davis, who hasn't done much himself. Only has 2 points on the night, but looks to facilitate the offense. Shot there from Johnson. The layup won't fall. Here's Cimino pushing it. Tries to get it to Mercer. The layup through contact won't go, but he'll have a chance at the line for 2. A much-needed 2 to tie this one back up at 33 apiece. Yeah, Mercer a little slow to get up there. I think he's banged up a little bit. You can tell. Not playing like his usual self right now, but. No, took a hard fall earlier before half in the 2nd quarter. Maybe that's still lingering right now. Yeah, this De La Salle team definitely more on the aggressive side here. As Mercer misses his first, he's been off on the shooting end tonight from all around the court. They're going to need this one to fall to make it a 1-point game with 4:05 to play in the 3rd. Yeah, and usually when you want to come out of halftime, you want to make those adjustments. But I think it's either does it get worse or does it get better? And I think in this case, it's gotten worse for the Bulldogs. Mercer sinks his second, so it's 32-33. They're now only down by 1. Meteors took their first lead of the game here in the 3rd quarter. They're looking to keep that and run away with a win here against the Bulldogs at their home court. And a foul is called. That'll be on Cimino. I don't like that call. You haven't been calling that all night. I think it's been a physical game on both sides. And I'm fine if you don't call it on the other side, but I think you just got to stay consistent. Yeah. That's his 3rd foul here. He still has 12 points. Had 10 in the 1st quarter. Remember, he caught fire early, kind of like Liam Enright did last week against Glenbard. Hasn't done much after that. Here's Biskupic after another tough rebound. Will dribble it up the court, ultimately give it to Van Tholen. Here's Mercer. He's been cold tonight, and a push there is called. The guys that have been on him so far tonight on number 5 have been very handsy, very physical, and you can tell it's taking a toll on him and his fatigue. Yeah, and I think mentally, too, it's kind of tough because you got to stay mentally locked in and don't get physical and, don't commit offensive fouls. Here's Enright. We'll take a quick 3. The rainbow won't go. And a push there from Cimino. Cimino's not happy with that call. It's the 2nd foul called on him in a row. Walker Burns will be called in exchange for Cimino. So after a very strong 1st quarter for number 21, hasn't looked great since. Here's Burns in, who has 0 points so far, but has got some action so far here tonight already. Yeah, definitely frustrating. You could see Cimino on the sideline, but I believe he can rally back, if anyone. So. Yeah, absolutely.
great player that he is, it's just a matter of time before his buckets start falling again. Here's Johnson from beyond the arc again. A bad miss there, rebounded by Mercer. A little bit more paced here. Here's Biskupik. Doesn't typically shoot from beyond the arc, like we talked about already. Here's Van Tholen trying to make a move on Edwards. Drives inside, pulls back, an air ball there. Seen a couple of those so far here this third quarter. Just under 3 to play now. Here's Mercer. Can he start feeling it from 3? He can't. And my goodness, Biskupik came down hard on his back. Thank goodness he got up, because that was an extremely hard fall.
Yeah, I mean, he's a football player right there.
Yeah,
that's
he's
a
built
tough
for
man.
that, yeah.
That's a tough man.
He is
Man,
built for those hits. This is the second time where it looks like the refs have tried to look for a wet spot now on the court.
yeah.
I'm telling you, the Bulldogs, they have to hire a mop guy.
Yeah.
Colleges, I mean, their crowds, they love it when the mop guy comes out and they clean that little wet spot. They get a little crowd pop going. Why not introduce that here at RB? I think that'd be a little fun little thing.
Even students, maybe.
Yeah.
Give them some volunteer, give them a free snack from the concessions.
Why not? As it'll be the Meteors ball again here. They're still up 1. A very slow third quarter. Not a lot of scoring. That's been that way the entire night, but this third quarter has been not all that exciting, I guess you'd say. As another travel is called there, that's on Cueva.
Yeah, Cueva just trying to get in the chest of Mercer, and he kind of trips up on himself a little bit almost, so kind of poisoned himself there in a way.
Yeah. Bulldogs going to have to put the ball in the basket here at some point. And a push won't be called on Mercer. It'll be called on Shaden Harvey. And that'll be his second foul on the night.
Yeah, the refs aren't afraid to blow their whistle at all.
That's been the theme all night here. As Mercer will have a chance. Made 1 of 2 last time at the line. Look to improve upon that now. As it will bounce in there. We are all tied up. Mercer has a chance to give the Bulldogs the lead again. Mercer at 11 points on the night, looking to make it 12. And it'll rattle in. He averages just under 21 points a night, so he'll need 9 more to meet that mark. A bad pass there. Could this be the turning point now for the Bulldogs? Got those 2 points there from the free throws, as De La Salle will call a timeout. DeCesar doesn't like what he sees. The Bulldogs so far here tonight, coming out of the timeout, they haven't done much of anything, Henry. Who would you draw, I guess, this play up for coming out of the timeout now that you have a possession to inbound on your side of the court? Who is this ball going to?
You got to go to Mercer, man. He's averaging 20 points a game. He's your star player. The shots haven't been falling tonight, but I believe, honestly, it doesn't get mentally in his head at all. And I think if you feed him the rock, he will score.
It's only a matter of time. He's kind of a ticking time bomb in that regard. We talked about Semino a little bit already. 12 points on the night, started real hot. You'd have to wonder if Ryan Gruber looks to him again at some point too. We'll see if he subs in here coming out of the timeout. Nonetheless, the Bulldogs have options. They just haven't been sharp tonight. Gonna have to change that quickly to maintain their lead, not only maintain it, but extend it, because only being up by 1 in a game where it's so back and forth and sloppy, anything can go both ways. They're gonna have to find a way to put some points on the board here pretty efficiently.
Yeah, and I think with the senior heavy roster, it's definitely doable.
I'd agree. See Burns coming back out on the court, so Semino will stay on the bench coming out of the timeout. Coach will continue to give him his breather.
Yeah, Semino's got 3, so you kind of got to, you're definitely going to have to utilize him in the 4th. We've seen this very close game so far.
Skupik will inbound to Van Tholen. Here's Mercer out to Enright. A cutting Biskupik won't get the ball there, but a cutting Van Tholen will. And a turnover there again from Van Tholen. We've seen a couple of those tonight there from number 23 and the sophomore. Here's Dixon, a quick 3 from the corner. Will fall. That's exactly what the Meteors needed. An asteroid struck there at the rim. That's a 3, 36-34 for De La Salle.
Yeah, definitely not their typical bucket, as I believe that's their first 3 of the game.
It's a bad pass there
yeah.
from Biskupik. A lot of turnovers for the white and blue tonight.
You can't have this many turnovers and expect to win the game.
No.
And the fact that you're down 2 points right now.
It's indicative of that,
yeah.
for sure. 150 and counting to play. Here's Cueva coming open here off the screen. Will go to his corner, get backed in. Dixon almost lost that ball out of bounds. And a foul is called on Mercer. refs won't shy away from calling much of anything so far here tonight.
Yeah, they're extending this game. Extending this game as much.
Dixon will go to the line for 2 here. 1:39 to play. So he'll take his time on these free throws. 53% as a team. De La Salle would love to see him make both here to extend their lead, as he won't do that. It's been the theme for them all year at the line. That's what practice is for, right? Ryan Gruber preaches it. Put a couple hundred shots up every practice there at the free throw line. It does pay off, as we can see here tonight. 1 of 2 here for Dixon. Jaden Harvey, number 25, will sub in now. He's yet to hit the scorer's table here tonight. He's still got 0. Let's see if they get him the ball. Have not yet so far tonight through 3 quarters. 1:30 and counting to play. Here's Van Tholen at the top of the key. Down to Biskupik, who looked like he wasn't really ready for it. Van Tholen will pump fake on the 3 ball. Get it back out to Enright. Here's Mercer. Van Tholen again. What can the sophomore do here? Try to find a bucket. Here's Mercer trying to back down, mid-range, in his face, and there you go, number 5 doing what he does best in the face of adversity, gets a bucket to go, that time from the mid-range.
Yeah, tough bucket there for Mercer, as we've seen him do it all year, and that's just his bread and butter, man.
A much-needed 3 there from Johnson, won't go, but a rebound from Harvey will give them another chance, and yet another opportunity to put points on the board after a miss for the Meteors.
Man, as an RB student, this is frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
Just seeing your team give up this many fouls, it's like...
You'd have to imagine Ryan Gruber and all of his assistant coaches on his staff feel the same way. I think they know that as a team, just playing a little bit more mentally sharper, they should be up pretty handily right now. As Harvey will make his first, extend their lead to 2. Looking to make it 3 here. Cimino still on the bench. Coach might just be saving him for the 4th quarter at this point. As you mentioned before, with his foul count, you have to be mindful and careful. Here's Biskupik to inbound. As Harvey goes 2 for 2 from the line. Yeah,
no reason for Cimino to get a late foul here in this 3rd quarter. Just keep him out for the remaining 45 seconds and get him back in here and getting him in his groove for the 4th quarter.
A 3 there won't fall from Van Tholen. Cueva with the rebound. As Kendall Davis will bring it up here for the Meteors. Can they get another bucket to extend their lead before the end of this 3rd quarter, heading into the final 8? That is the question here that remains. Here's Davis, the 5'10 junior. He's been the commander in point, bringing the ball up all night so far for this team. The clock is ticking down. Enright stays on him. They'll have to put a shot up eventually, and that one won't go. Here's Mercer with just a second to go. Won't get a shot off. And that'll do it through 3 quarters. The Bulldogs now find themselves down after 3. 36 to 39. We'll kick it down for an interview here as we head into the 4th quarter.
I'm here with
Kayla. Spider.
How are you guys enjoying the game so far? Like, how do you think it's going?
It's been going great. It's awesome. So much fun.
How do you think the 6-man band is doing tonight? Very good?
Oh, they're great. Honestly, they're the reason why we're here right now. We're just here to support our friends. Yeah.
What do you think they have had a great impact on?
Honestly, I'd say that like a lot of my friends in Rock Band have like honestly encouraged me to get into music as well. They've encouraged me to get out of my house and just come see things because they're bringing us out to the other events that we don't really go and see as often. I wouldn't be here just for the game, low-key, but like I'm here for the music.
It's just a way we can support our community. Like just showing up helps our friends know that we care. So yeah.
All right, thank you guys very much.
Well, as we await the 4th quarter here, the final 8 minutes of what has been a rather relaxed matchup, not a whole lot of exciting moments, the Bulldogs find themselves down 3. So what will they do in response to that? What is Coach Mike Reingruber's approach for the final 8 minutes to try and get this lead back and steal a win at home. I've talked about it already ad nauseum. You don't want to fall into this trap game scenario where you end up giving away a game as Enright gives away a pass and coach is not happy right now. It'll be the Meteors' ball. It's Lucas Johnson to inbound, who's been, I guess, the sharpest shooter of the bunch tonight for the Meteors, though it hasn't been totally pretty. Here's Johnson here. Pump fakes a three. Here's Harvey at the top. Here's Davis, who again has not shot much tonight, but Cueva has, and that one will fall. The Meteors get the first bucket here of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Cueva, that's kind of been his only shot all night is the three-pointer, as he's had 3 of those.
No idea how Biskupik saved that one, but that will either way go the Meteors' way, as Riverside Brookfield is really just the gift that keeps on giving for this Meteors offense, giving them all the chances in the world. Biskupik is not pleased with their performance so far, and I don't think anybody in this gymnasium should be either. Here's Harvey. Will refuse to dribble, now will try to get pushed back here. Here's Cueva. Johnson in the corner, that's been his sweet spot all night. Here's Cueva again. Some more ball movement here. Here's Davis's first three-point shot of the night, and it falls. Finally, we see that jumper, and it's a net positive for the Meteors offense.
Yeah, I think the Bulldogs, they're just kind of losing themselves this game right now, as they're not playing great defense and their offense has been horrible.
Really has not been pretty, as Enright will look for a charge and the Meteors start pulling away. Coach loses the pen after he slaps his clipboard. They'll talk it over. Gonna have to figure something out as they find themselves down 9 after starting down 3. Heading into the fourth quarter, just 1 minute and 25 in, and 2 quick buckets from the Meteors. Has coach not happy?
Yeah, he's gonna need that pen back and definitely draw up a play here, because it is not, they have not been great all day, honestly. I mean, it just doesn't really look like Bulldogs basketball.
Well, right now, I think the biggest thing is this is a mental test for this team. They find themselves down 9 points right now here with 6:35 to go. You are going to face very tough talent when it comes to playoff time later this month in early March. How are you going to approach those games in the face of adversity when you find yourselves in these kinds of situations, right? Down a bunch of points, but you know you can come back from this as a team. You have the power, you have the star power, you have the players out on the court to do so. How do you go about doing it? And how are you sharp enough up here in your head in these kinds of moments to get it done? I think that is a huge question, as it looks to see. We have Anthony Tyler checking in right now for the Bulldogs. Somebody who we have not seen tonight. We were up here watching the sophomore game earlier, and he was starting out there for the Bulldogs. He'll now make his first varsity minutes of the night, so a pretty major switch there, as Van Tholen, who's been turnover heavy tonight, will get subbed out.
Yeah, and I think Ryan Gruber trying to switch things up here on, because obviously what they were doing before isn't working.
Yeah, here's Enright. Tyler again to touch the ball. Nice quick pass down low to Biskupik. 2 quick points right after Anthony Tyler checks in. Is that a coincidence? I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, great pass there from Tyler. Just honestly, you love to see that from a sophomore, as surveying the defense and just finding the open man.
It's kind of convenient, isn't it? Sophomore replacing a sophomore.
Yeah. The
youth movement here for the Bulldogs, as Harvey will pump fake a 3 that I don't believe he should be taking. Some back and forth with the ball in the air. Tyler will have to collect himself after a low pass from Enright. Here's Biskupik. Will try to drive in. Will cut back off. Mercer's calling for the ball down low. Here's Enright with the drive. Will put up a quick 2, and a travel is called on Enright. So we'll see a replay here.
Yeah, I don't think these refs are familiar with European basketball, Aiden.
Rather uncharacteristic night as a whole from Enright. He's kind of made a lot of mistakes, even on the passing end, which he prides himself in. He prides himself on being an assist-first kind of player, always with his head up. Talked about it a lot for as long as I've had this headset on and doing these basketball games. That's what he loves most about the game of basketball. He wants that 20-assist game at some point. He's running out of time, but Not a great night from the pass on the passing end for Enright as a quick steal. Give me that. This is Cam Mercer. Will he look to pass it? Look to draw the and one and gets it to go. A much needed bucket from number 5 in transition. He'll have a chance at 3 points here.
Wow, Cameron Mercer, man. What a tough bucket. I mean, how many high school players make that shot, Aiden?
What an impressive player number 5 is. It's taken him a little bit to get going, and we'll see if he can continue now in this 4th quarter. They're going to need him to as he looks to cut the Meteors' lead down to 6.
Yeah, and I know we say, I mean, it's taken him a little bit to get going, but I mean,
just the player that he is.
I mean,
it's evident.
He has 16 points already.
Cimino for 3 won't fall. Big second chance here from Mercer. Won't go again, but he'll continue to get his own rebound, fighting for it. Here's Tyler. Will pump fake the 3. Beskiupik loses the ball in the 3-point attempt. Slips off of his fingers. Here's Harvey in transition. Will bounce off. And a foul is called on the defense. A potentially huge missed chance there for the Bulldogs offense off the rebound from the free throw.
Yeah, had about 5 chances there to maybe get a shot or a bucket, but they just couldn't convert, kept rimming out.
The sweaty hands from Beskiupik. They don't play in his favor there. Slips away. Meteors now find themselves at the line to put their lead back up to 9 if they can hit both here.
Yeah, Beskiupik only got 1 break in this game so far, and that was in the first quarter, I believe, so hasn't sat in a while.
At the hands of Harvey here to extend the Meteors' lead. Beskiupik is still well conditioned, you know, coming off of a football season straight into basketball. Sports are his life. This is what he's all about. Here's Jaden Harvey, a big second free throw, won't go. The crowd rumble will say played a part in that. Here's Beskiupik with the ball up top to Cimino. He'll drive with his wide frame. Will get a tough bucket to go. A gliding layup from 21 is a huge bucket as the Meteors will call a timeout. The Bulldogs still down 6, 42-48, 4:39 to play.
Yeah, I love Cimino staying confident there. He hasn't had the best night after his 10-point performance, but Cimino getting to that rim, that's kind of his style. He's kind of like either a 3-point corner or he'll drive, and so I think Cimino's done a great job just finding his rhythm and finding what he does best.
It's interesting because the Bulldogs have sort of shied away from any interior looks unless it's off of a second chance rebound. On the offensive side of the ball, they've kind of stuck around the perimeter, and not a lot of these 3-point shots have fallen tonight. So another interesting thing to watch could be, do you just start using Cimino's height to your advantage in the paint? Maybe you can get it down low to him, maybe off some backdoor cuts from the corner, which is where he likes to stay for those 3-point shots that he hits very consistently. Best 3-point shooter percentage-wise on the team. But I think at some point you have to start using his height, right? He stands 6'6". You got to use that frame, that wingspan to your advantage in a situation now where you're just looking to get any bucket that you can, really.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Aiden.
The Bulldogs will come out of the timeout here, still down 6, looking to claw back some of that momentum. It'll take a defensive stop here to continue to feel that way. Here's Dixon bringing it up. Has 12 points on the night for the Meteors. A nice pass there for Harvey, and an easy 2 will fall. So coming out of the timeout, the Bulldogs come out a bit lazy yet again. Here's Enright to push it up on offense. Anthony Tyler remains in, the sophomore that's subbed in for Van Tholen. A risky pass there. Here's Tyler. We'll try to drive in. Here's Beskiupik. He'll take the 3, and it won't go.
Yeah, a rare 3-point even shot from Beskiupik there, as he's not typically a 3-point shooter, but he can shoot when he needs to.
He can. I mean, I saw it earlier today at times. But in dire moments like this, when you need any points that you can get, 3s are nice if you can get them, to make this Meteors lead less and less. Here's a deep 3 from Johnson, won't go. A big rebound here will go, should be the Bulldogs' way. No, it'll stay the Meteors' ball from that jump ball. So here's Van Tholen to sub in. A couple of crucial minutes there for the sophomore and Anthony Tyler. Did you like what you saw from number 3?
Oh, yeah, I did like what I saw from Anthony Tyler. Honestly, I would have probably kept him in the game. I thought the offense was doing a lot better with him in the game, but Van Tholen's such a versatile scorer that you kind of need him in the game if you want a chance. So, and you're not going to sub Beskiupik and Wright. You're like starting 5, sorry. You're not going to sub any of them out.
Yeah. The drive inside there won't go. A nice pluck there from Cimino on the defensive rebound. He'll slow things up on offense, try to set things up now. Here's Van Tholen, and a foul is finally called. It's felt very tacky all night. It finally goes the Bulldogs' way.
Yeah, I assume someone on De La Salle has to foul out soon because there's
really
probably been like 20 fouls, and I'm not sure.
Definitely feels that way. Enright to inbound, a quick pass there to Biskupic. Enright thought about the corner three, wasn't going to take it. Overhead to Mercer. A deep three off the front of the rim.
Yeah, just not the shot you needed there, to be honest. I mean, you're kind of trying to play hero ball a little bit there. And if anyone's trying to play it, Mercer is definitely the right guy.
As Mercer gets jabbed in the face there on defense.
Oh my.
Almost elbowed. And Mercer is livid with that ref. He is not happy with the calls that he's been getting tonight. That's his fourth, excuse me. So you have to be careful. Two of your biggest players now in Cimino and Mercer are both at 4 fouls. 2 more to give, and they're out of here.
Yeah, definitely not ideal for this Bulldog squad, as you need those players if you want any shot of coming back.
And that will be his 5th. He was looking to draw that charge there. And coach doesn't seem too pleased with the ref's call. A very controversial night from the men in the white and black stripes down there. I know the crowd doesn't love it either. It'll stay De La Salle ball. Johnson set to inbound. As Walker Burns will now sub in for Mercer, who is very upset with himself on the bench. Will have to collect himself, you'd have to imagine, if it comes down to a final shot situation or a game where it's within 4 or 5. He's coming back in this one before it finishes up. Here's Harvey, will kick it to the corner. A huge 3 for Cueva, and it goes. The biggest shot of the night for the Meteors. Can Van Tholen respond? He cannot. A quick rebound for the Meteors. They now have all the momentum here with 2:35 to play. In the corner, here's Johnson. Continue with the speedy offense, and another layup for the Meteors. Reingruber will let it play. No timeout will be called. He's got 2 left. So here's Biskupic at the top. This game has quickly gotten away from them. Van Tholen just can't corral the ball tonight. And another turnover. Here come the Meteors. Here's Johnson on the fast break. Tries to draw contact, and it will fall. The last 45 seconds have all been off the hands of Remy Edwards for the Meteors. Here's Biskupic, drives inside, kicks it out to a huge 3 from Van Tholen, and one finally hits. Meteors lead now is at 12, and a timeout is called.
Yeah, I mean, wow, what a
lot has transpired in the last minute.
Yeah. I mean, the Bulldogs, I think it's been the story of kind of the game, as they're just letting easy buckets happen, and costly turnovers have cost them this game. And I think like 12 minutes or 12 points in 2 minutes is probably unrealistic, but you never know.
Yeah. I think this one, after this one, win or loss, regardless of what the outcome ends up being, you have to go up to the drawing board after this one. If you're Coach Reingruber, you have to talk this one over, and you might spend an hour plus in this film room, because just a lot of laziness. That word continues to linger here tonight as we have 1:47 to play. Bulldogs are down 12. Nothing, you know, it's very uncharacteristic of the guys who run this offense between Liam Enright and Noah Van Tholen. They're 2 taller guards. They haven't been able to set things up really at the top of the key. A lot of passes that have gone the other way. That's been far and away the main reason why the Bulldogs find themselves down double digits right now with 1:47 to play. If you're Coach Reingruber, that's what you're talking about for at least 45 minutes in that film room come the day after.
Yeah, I think Noah Van Tholen really affected this team. Usually he's a star player and just honestly a really good player for this team, but it hasn't been his night tonight. I'm looking for him to rebound, though, and I bet he will.
I have no doubt in my mind that the talent that he is as a sophomore will continue to shine. Some guys just have their off nights, as it looks like the Meteors are running 4 verts here coming out of the inbound here. Here's Harvey into Van Tholen, who almost intercepts it. He's pushed out of bounds, and it'll go the Bulldogs' way.
Yeah, definitely a foul there.
Here's Enright to inbound. Van Tholen gonna need a lot here in the last 2 minutes. Van Tholen through contact, tough bucket. Bulldogs are now down 10. That's his 7th point of the night. Has come on a little bit here late. And a foul is called on Enright. So maybe now you start seeing some of these intentional fouls. That's Enright's first foul somehow of the night.
Yeah, that kind of foul, or sorry, not the foul. The call seemed a little premature there, as I don't even think Enright touched him, but I assume he knew he was trying to foul.
As Dixon will slap the ball here for the inbound. Here's Harvey, and Biskupik will now have his first foul on the sheet of the night. I'll tell you what, Coach DeCesar, he is loud, man.
Yeah.
I can hear him. I got a headset on. It's a little bit muffled up here. He's loud and clear. I can make out every word he's saying down there.
Yeah, and I think it probably attests to the time at his time at the D1 level.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, it definitely transferred to high school.
What a job he's done at De La Salle. Plenty, and I mean plenty of years of coaching experience between the collegiate level and the high school level. A prized coach. Looking to get out of here and steal a win against RB, a very good program who as of right now is 21-6. This is no joke of a varsity team that is the Bulldogs. So a very prized coach coaching up his players to steal games like these when they need them. Here's Van Tholen, gonna have to move fast, which he does anyways. He finally gets fouled there. The call will go, I believe, against Remy Edwards. That will be, excuse me, on Shaden Harvey, number 25. So that'll be his 4th foul of the night. Here's Enright to inbound. Gonna have to get a quick bucket here. 1:21 to play. Here's Semino in the corner. Gets it out to Burns. At the top of the key, Walker Burns in here now. Here's Enright for a corner 3. That's an air ball. And Harvey will get the easy rebound. Here's Johnson again. Some nice ball movement here, moving up the court for the Meteors. Here's Dixon, and will get fouled. That's Burns, and that'll be his first of the night. Everybody now that has checked in for the Bulldogs has a foul on the night.
Yeah, I think De La Salle, too, I mean, I know we talked about their free throw shooting, only shooting 53% on the year, but, I mean, they've been great tonight,
yeah,
to be honest.
They really have.
So, showed us up.
Yeah, seriously, and that's definitely played in their favor, a huge part of why they were able to pull away, you know, without knocking down those free throws. And if they had stayed true to that 50% around their free throw percentage, this could look like a bit of a different game right now, where instead of the Bulldogs being down 13 with just over a minute to play, you know, maybe they're only down 5 or 6 and you still have a little bit more confidence in the final 60 seconds. Dixon will look to make his second here, which he will. Here's Van Tholen with some shifty moves. Might be a little too late. Here's Biskupik, a quick 3, rattles out. Nothing is falling from beyond the arc tonight for the Bulldogs. A cold performance around the perimeter. Johnson will just look to slow it up, chew out the clock for the rest of the night, as will Dixon. Will the Bulldogs foul? Doesn't appear as if they will. Dixon will just dribble around the court, try to get out of here as quick as he can. Davis up at the top, kicks it back out. It appears as if this is gonna be it here tonight. They're gonna have to put a shot up, won't fall. Burns with a tough rebound that immediately gets stolen away, and a foul is finally called. A tough night for the Bulldogs as fans and parents begin to leave. A tough loss, and one that I'm sure will sting for the next week or so.
Yeah, but definitely, if you're the Bulldogs, you have to stay motivated. I mean, you're heading into the playoffs. I mean, if you carry on with this kind of lackluster performances, I mean, this is their only one, so lackluster performance, I think you guys won't stand a chance.
No. Do not let this performance define you as a team. I think they know that. A very mature team, I'd say, between, you know, the 8 seniors and everybody else, with the sophomores getting minutes, very valuable minutes at the varsity level. This team knows what it takes to make a push in late February. As Enright just can't fall here tonight. As the final seconds tick down, the Meteors will rush on out of here with a victory. 61-47, your final. The Bulldogs fall to 21-7 as a great night from the man who's trying to dunk it home. Steven Dixon, number 5, will end up being our Mike's Hot Honey player of the game. What a job he did, 14 points tonight. Hit actually his points per game mark, so he was right there, right on with 14 points. He was really the facilitator on offense tonight and got things going in the second half and helped them pull away for that victory.
Yeah, definitely, and I think also the amount of offensive rebounds they got too definitely helped with their success, and he got to convert on some of those 3 points after the offensive rebound. So definitely an all-around team effort for them.
And we talked about it already, as we will name Steven Dixon our Mike's Hot Honey player of the game from De La Salle. Hopefully we can get number 5 in for an interview before he leaves us. If not, let's talk a little bit more about what this game means in the long run, because I already mentioned the trap game. We don't want this to linger, you know, in the next week and a half as they finish out their season. Don't let this define you as a team. The Bulldogs are better than what they showed tonight, and I think everybody in this gymnasium knows that.
Yeah, and I think this De La Salle team, they're a good team, but I think the Bulldogs definitely should have been able to win this. And I think when you go up against teams like Curry and St. Ignatius and even Oak Lawn, you're not going to be able to put up these performances and expect an even close result to in your game.
Well, after tonight, back to the drawing board it is for the Bulldogs. They're going to have to figure out how to rebound from this one. It'll be interesting to see how they do so as they close out the regular season in the next coming weeks. Riverside Brookfield falls to De La Salle 47-61. I'm Aidan Sheff signing off one last time up here in the booth alongside Henry Juergens. That'll be all tonight from RBTV. Thank you, guys.